Mic check. Morning Masters Podcast. Your host, Maine, of course. Across from me, I got two special guests. I got Donald and Mikhail Doe of Family Financial Consultants. How you doing?
We're great.
We're doing
good.
fantastic.
That's what's up. I did that right. That was good.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
great.
I try, you know. How y'all been doing though?
We've been doing phenomenal. It's been a great first month of the year. Business is booming. Every year gets better and better, and we are. I don't know. It's just amazing. It's hard to explain because our lives, when you put your mind to doing certain things and you actually see your dreams and aspirations coming to fruition, it can be a little overpowering.
Definitely.
At times.
Would it be in the top of the year? Like, is it more pressure or less pressure, like business wise?
Well, I mean, we keep pressure on ourselves consistently,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say that it's more pressure. It's just that we coming off of a phenomenal year, and we're hitting the ground running very strong for 2023 with that same type of energy. So, we in our business, this first quarter is very important. It kind of sets the tone for the rest of the year. So we're doing a fantastic job this first quarter of seizing the moment and taking advantage of our opportunity.
So I'm in retail, and I know like first and second quarter for us are it's super important. Like if you don't even know us, you forget third and fourth, it don't matter.
Right.
So I don't know, is that the same with y'all? Like is it quarter by quarter basis? Like certain quarters are more important just to kind of keep yourself in the game business wise for that year.
Absolutely. So basically, when you set the tone for the first quarter, everything that happens in the third and the fourth quarter is a result of what you did in the first and the second quarter.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when it comes to building, when it comes to growth, when it comes to, for us, as far as contracting new brokers and all this kind of stuff, all this stuff gets done in the first, especially in the first quarter.
Gotcha.
And it carries over to the second quarter. But by the time the third and the fourth quarter get here, you're just kind of on autopilot.
Got you. So how I normally started, like I wanted to ask just so people watching and know what y'all do and know what they in tune for, but I also try to get to know the guests as well, so that my thing is like I feel like if somebody don't get to shop with you or get to look into you more on the business side, they're like something personally like I like this about this person. I now want to shop with them, or now stuff you're saying later on in the third and fourth quarter of this episode, it'll make sense. You know what I'm saying? So I guess each one of y'all want to go first. Like, just tell me about like who are you? Like, what's your upbringing? Where you from?
I'll let you go first.
First
Save
of
the
all,
best for last.
she always makes me go first. And so, with that being said, for me personally, I was in trucking for 20 years, and so I own Doughboy Trucking, and so 20 years in the trucking business, and I got to this point in the business whereas I felt like I had made profit, but now I needed purpose. And so I was thinking about getting into real estate, but I had a gentleman come and talk to me about insurance. And when he came and talked to me about insurance, it seemed like a pretty good fit. And so I got licensed, and the rest is kind of history as it pertains to insurance. But it wasn't really something that I really had a interest in getting into. It just kind of happened because I was looking for something with some purpose. And so when the guy talked to me about insurance, he was actually recruiting me to join another outfit that he was contracted with. And
Gotcha.
when he came and talked to me, it just, it sounded good. And it sounded like something that would get me out of that truck and get me into another line of business that would be profitable, but will also give me some purpose.
You from here? You from
Yes.
Georgia?
Yes, I am from Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you was a Redskin fan. I wasn't sure. I thought you were maybe from DC or something like that.
No, man, I am from Augusta, Georgia. When I grew up as a kid, the Falcons, my dad always tried to make me a Falcons fan, but the Falcons were terrible. So
Well, they still terrible.
And they still terrible.
Okay, just make
Right?
sure
They still rising down. So with that being said, I watched as a kid. I watched this guy named John Riggins, who was a biracial guy. He was a running back of the Redskins, and it attracted me to the Redskins. He was a dominant running back, and I just kind of fell in love with the Redskins. They were a great team way back in the day, and listen. One thing about me, like I like being associated with winners. Redskins were winners back then, and and I just kind of gravitated towards the Redskins. I did not take to the Falcons like my dad wanted me to.
But they weren't winners, so that
They
makes
were
sense.
they were not winners.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to be with the winners. So
Okay. What about you? Like, where you from? And
I am from Queens, New York.
I'm
New
from
York
Brooklyn, so shout out to you. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
Where
talking
my
about.
New York is at? But no, yeah, I'm from Queens, New York, but I moved here back in 2004. I was raised by my grandmother. My mother and father, they are alive, but I'm a child of the 70s. And so that's when the grandmamas were taking over, when the parents were still, I guess, living their own life or living their best life.
What a
So
time.
I moved here with her because she's originally from Augusta.
Oh, okay.
And so I moved here to take care of her. Since she took care of me till adulthood, I decided, well, I'll take care of you, And so she's my best friend anyway, so I couldn't have her be here and I'm not here. But I have 20 plus years like Donald, but mine is in IT, 18 of which was with Comcast Cable. I supported the Augusta location as well as 5 other remote locations. And I enjoyed what I did, but kind of like Donald, I was making great money, but I didn't really have a passion for it. I was literally going in to make money, and that was it. So I was getting a bit bored with it. But with Donald being a truck driver and me having flexibility with Comcast as far as my time and our children, still rearing our children, it just made sense just to be there. So, of course, when he was entertaining the opportunity in regards to insurance, I'm a nosy wife. So I'm like, well, what you doing? Well, what you got going on over there? And I saw that he was taking a liking to it, and he and I are very similar. So I'm like, well, if he's taking a liking to it, I'm sure I would too, and so I followed in his footsteps. You like it, I love it. Let's do it,
That's dope.
And we've just always been like that. We've always, when we first even were dating, we've fantasized about having a business together, And it's funny now. Here it is, 15 years later of knowing you, and
Absolutely.
we've got our, we've had our business,
That's beautiful.
since 2019. So that's awesome.
I have to throw this out there just because you mentioned it. Like, so one thing that caught my attention one time, you had posted something about Above the Rim, right? And the thing
Yes.
about it was like, that's my favorite movie. And I guess because I'm from Brooklyn, I know that it was shot in Tilden High School, if I'm mistaken.
Yes, it was.
I know the gym, so I was like, oh, this is. When I see it, I was like, oh, she from New York. I never knew, and then when you posted, I was like, it's crazy how close. You just don't know how things work that way. 'Cause that's my favorite movie,
Exactly.
and like you so close into Augusta. I didn't know. I had no clue until
And
that
I
day.
was taken aback that you knew about Tilden High School.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
My cousin went there, so I seen game. I've been in that gym a few times. I had a cousin go to Nazareth and a cousin go to Tilden. They play each other sometimes. They like rivals or whatever. So
Yeah.
just some basketball talk. I'm trying to,
Yeah,
I ain't trying to throw you out of it, but
You good, man.
it's just a Brooklyn thing.
Just act like I ain't here.
You ever been to New York?
Yes.
How you
Yes.
like? Well, you being from here, what's your opinion of New York?
I hated it. I hate New York. I hated New Yorkers. So
up with you?
How you hate New Yorkers that you married one?
I don't know how this happened, but
Whatever.
I just arrogant, loud mouths. I mean, I just and no disrespect to my New York people listening
No,
to
that's
this or
def-
watching this.
That's
That's
You're not
disrespect. That's
saying
full
nothing
disrespect.
wrong. No, you're not saying nothing wrong though, but it is
But
like
you're not
that.
wrong.
That is funny because like now think about it, like because I feel it's something similar. I might not be as wordy as that, but I feel similar. Like it's people from New York that come down here a lot of times and they just go crazy. They be real arrogant, real loud. Just I'm from here, so you have to treat me this way type of attitude. They don't really last down here when they do that though.
No.
But we won't hear that part of the story. But they don't
No.
last down here when that happens.
No.
So what I know you mentioned like y'all like. So what in what ways if I don't know when y'all want to answer, which ways are y'all like? Like you said y'all was similar in some ways.
Well, let me say this, if she doesn't mind me saying this. Me and Michael, we are. People say that opposites attract, and I agree with that. Opposites attract, but they don't last. We and her, we are exactly alike. We're both futuristic in our thinking when it comes to business, when it comes to family. So when I met this woman, we had a lot of talks about finances and things of this nature when we were dating. And I realized very quickly that we were on the same page when it comes to building wealth, when it comes to our family, when it comes to integrity and just the way we like to handle stuff. And so our relationship blossomed very quickly because we were a lot alike. I didn't have to pull her. She didn't have to pull me. We both believe in being faithful and throughout the dating process, and we had a very great dating process. 3 years dating till we got married, but we were just alike. We clicked automatically because we were both looking for the same thing. Just somebody to grow with, a partnership. Not necessarily a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but an actual partner. You know, somebody that you can grow with, and somebody that's I got good credit, you got good credit. Well, at the time I had bad credit, but wow, I almost lied. At the time I had bad credit because I was coming out of a divorce, and but shout out to her, man. So she got with me on the bad credit thing, but we worked it out, man. And because I believed in good credit, I just went through just a really tumultuous divorce, and it ruined my credit. The emotional baggage that comes along with that ruined my credit, rather. But with that being said, we were both looking for the same thing. So when we got into business together, that was a natural fit because we were already moving as a unit. We've always moved as a unit and husband and wife, always, day one. Even though we got 3 kids, the kids know that it's us against them. Like, so you're never going to hear us say the kids come first. We come first, and us building a strong marriage is something that the kids can duplicate if they can see that. And so I think sometimes in relationships, folks will put the kids first. And I think putting the husband and the wife first is what is putting the kids first, making them grow up in a stable environment. So we agreed on all that kind of stuff. So it just made sense for us. And it's been a blessed relationship with her.
It really has.
What about you? What's some ways you think y'all similar? That was a beautiful answer.
Wasn't it beautiful?
He gets some. I'm thinking about clipping as I go along. I already know that's the first clip I'm using.
Honestly,
You got to top his now. Just
I know, and I'm really not going to be able to top his. But what I will say that I would like to add to his, because on a female side, I know of our struggles, and I think a lot of times when we meet someone, or we meet a man, of course, the first thing you see is an attraction. You know, oh yeah, he's cute, or he's tall, or he's chocolatey, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing. But then you have to kind of get past that and find out about that person. And that's one thing that I have to say. I'm glad that Donald was, and I was at that time in that position where looks wasn't enough. Like, okay, you got my attention, but now let me see how you can keep my attention. And that was the journey that I appreciated, because yeah, we were dating, we were attracted to each other, but like we truly kept no secrets from each other. Like Donald knew the good and the bad of me, because I wanted him to know what I went through and what I was not trying to go through again with anybody. And what I was trying to learn, I was trying to find me and learning to love me. And Donald he was actually ahead of me at that time of learning to love himself. So I was able to learn from him. And that made me love him not only as my partner or someone I was interested in, but as my best friend. Like, this dude is my best friend. Like, ridiculous best friend. If I come in and I got some little juice or whatever, I got some gossip, he like, oh, girl, tell me, let me get the wine.
I'm girlfriend.
You know, he is girlfriend.
I'm girlfriend,
he is
right
girlfriend. And I mean, you ask our girls, it's the same thing. You know, if they want to talk to him about something, girl, what he do? You know, and I just love it because it's not fake. It's fun, but it's not fake. Like, Donald genuinely cares. And it's very rare that you have 2 people that genuinely care. And so I feel that that's the blessing that I was given, because he's phenomenal. I mean, I'm more phenomenal, but he's phenomenal.
I am pretty great.
Hey, I don't know. It's like a tie. That was a good answer to me. She almost got you, but the best friend part really threw it over the tip. I said, I don't know. She got you with that one. That was it. But yeah. So, and I think that's a good thing. I think a lot of people sometimes try to go into business together. Just thinking that's a cute thing to do, but I'm just looking at y'all and listening to y'all talk. It's a lot of work. I'm assuming.
Oh
right?
yes. Now let me be real with you. Right, it's easy now, but in the beginning it was work, because I had been in business for 20 years. I've been making my own check for a long time. My wife was corporate America, so she was used to W-2. So it's a whole different mindset. Once you decide to go straight 1099 and be responsible for your own check, a certain mindset comes with that. You can't just you can do it physically, but if you're not there mentally, it's not going to work. And so I was way there mentally, and she wasn't. But I think she was more so on the cute thing, like, hey, I think working together would be it'd be great. Me walking off my job, us kind of working together, but not really understanding what it was going to take mentally for us to go there. But because I was there, once we started doing it, I was like, hey, we can't do this, we can't do that. This got to be structured that way. This got to be structured this way. It ain't fun no more. It ain't cute no more. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm telling her what to do, and it's like, it's a problem. But shout out to her. I mean, she got through it. Building wealth it's not sexy. Building wealth is the stuff that you don't see. Getting rich, everybody sees getting rich. The fancy car, the big house, you can see that. But wealth is the stuff that you can't see. And I was telling her, hey, we got to move different. We're trying to create wealth. So that requires a different level of thinking. Everything for us is not going to be tangible. They're not going to be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to her because she bought into it, and we've been very successful because she bought into it. I always tell her that she's strong enough to lead, but secure enough to follow. And that for her as a woman who had her own money, and she got these degrees and all this other kind of stuff. But she saw very quickly that, okay, Donald doesn't have degrees, but he makes a lot more money than I do. He's an entrepreneur. He moves a certain type of way. He thinks a certain type of way. Let me really immerse myself into what he's doing. And that's how we became what we are. Shout out to her. I'm humbled that she was willing to even follow me. Everybody wants to be a leader, and that's cool. But if nobody is following you, you're just taking a walk. And she followed me, and that's a tribute to her and a tribute to myself for being worthy of being followed.
Just a quick question. I have to ask this just because you brought the leader word, and I talk about this often. But how, if any, was it tough for you to have to lead in a different way, business wise, than, like, I know in the household you probably lead one way, relationship lead one way, or whatever the case may be. But now it's business together. So do you still have to be like, do you just be firm, like, hey, you're not doing it this way, or is it like you gotta be delicate because you know what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, like?
Here's the thing, and I always say this to her, and shout out to her, man. She's going to hear something that she's heard 1,000 times, which is there isn't an F in business. So there's no feelings in this, meaning that if I tell you something, it's like I'm the same person all the time, whether it's in dealing with my children. You met my daughter, dealing with any of my kids, dealing with my wife, or in business, it's all the same. We're going to be very authentic and do what's best, for the business, for the family, whatever's got to be done. I'm not going to spare your feelings. This is what we got to do, period. And we can kind of talk about different ways to do it, but this is what we're going to have to do. And so I appreciate her for allowing, and it was tough for her, like I said before, it was really tough. She's looking at me smiling now because she knows it's the truth. I mean, like it was tough for her. She's always been an independent woman. And I think that some women feel like they lose some of their independence, when they, attach themselves to a strong type of man. And I'm not saying I'm strong. She'll probably say that. I'm just being Donald, but right. She would basically define that, okay, Donald's a very strong man. And so me attaching myself to him means I'm losing something. But shout out to her because she understood she was gaining. It's a net gain, and so she understood the net gain. And so that's why I always say she's strong enough to lead, but secure enough to follow, because she understood the net gain. So the person that I am, I'm the same person all the time, business wise, family. So I was the same Donald. So even with our relationship, if she put on something that don't look right, I'm gonna say, hey, babe, that don't look right. And that's the thing about us. Like, we expect each other to be honest. Don't spare my feelings, and then later on tell me, 3 months down the road, hey man, we went out that night and you was looking real bad and I was embarrassed, blah blah. No, tell me before we go out that, hey, I don't like XYZ. And that's how we've always moved. Like, we gonna be very honest with each other and very transparent, and that's why we are where we are right now. Just being honest with each other. We don't want no resentment to kick in because one of us was lying about, something. So we just always keep it real with each other.
Yeah.
So far we got that you're tall, chocolatey, and strong. She said handsome too, so handsome. So 4 things. I got you. I'm trying to describe it as we go along. All right. With you though, in addition to what he said, how was it for you to have to adapt to that now? Like you go from corporate. He mentioned 1099 W-2, which I'll get to in a second. How was it to adapt to that new way of working, that new lifestyle of working, or approaching rather?
I will admit, I was very scared. I was very scared because all I've ever known was I did 18 years at Comcast. I didn't plan on leaving there. You know, I thought I was going to retire from Comcast, and even when I got interested in doing what Donald was doing when he was exploring the insurance, it was more so like, okay, I'll do that on the side. Like I never really thought about leaving Comcast and doing this full time. But as with all businesses, although Comcast is $1 billion company, they make cuts. And so they were cutting within the IT department. They weren't cutting me, but if I stayed, I would have had to basically do the work of 3 people and not get the pay that I should have gotten, not get the support that I should have gotten. And so with that kind of fueled me to say, well, you know what, at least I have my husband, he has a business. He's exploring this other realm of adding on, and so I'm going to be okay. But on the inside, I was like, oh my gosh, But then once we got into the business, once I kind of got my feet wet and was doing things, then I felt better. But then here's the thing of the business is doing well, we're growing. And so now here comes the instructions. Here comes you need to do it this way. And that's the way it needs to be done. And I'm looking like, who is this guy? Because the guy that I was used to, is the guy that as soon as he's getting on my nerves, he's going on the road. And now when I start missing him, he's back. And so it was like, all over again. And I'm like, but now you barking orders. And, I felt like he was right in what he was saying, but I just felt like he could have phrased it better. Like, if you're going to tell me to do something, make it in the form of a question, finesse me a little bit, and then, I'll be more, I'll do more, So, of course, there was a whole lot of, the look, because we give the look. Who you think you're talking to, But I'm the type of person, I'll give you the look, but I'm still going to listen and respect what you have to say. Because one of the things that we've understood, even in the beginning, is you don't have to like what I have to say, but you have to respect the fact that I'm saying it to you. Because I'm saying it out of love, or I'm saying it out of something that I know. So you don't have to like it, but you will see that what I'm saying is correct, So, I'd give him kickback, but I'd still do what he told me to do.
I wonder, and you can answer this question more than anybody. Like, does it become easier those situations when you are being led in some or whatever, where the person that's leading ends up like you start to see the bigger picture of how they're right. Like, it's easier.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Here's the thing about leadership that I've noticed, even in a marriage, is that a lot of men will complain about their woman not following them, but what is your track record for leadership? You can't expect a woman to follow you if you're incompetent. And so with her, I had already shown several years of competence, and that's why she was willing to follow me. So instead of me trying to just make a woman follow me, oh, I'm a leader, come into business with me, blah, 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 it was more so her looking at my track record. And the track record said, yeah, I need to bet on this guy. You know what I'm saying? He had already proven that he's somebody that I can bet on. Because as a woman, like you make yourself very vulnerable when you follow a man. You become very vulnerable. So if that man does not have a track record of success and doing what he says he's going to do, you shouldn't follow him. Just, me as father of 2 adult daughters, I mean, hey, you don't follow no man that is incompetent. If he hasn't proven that he can have a certain level of competence, you should not be following him. So for her, just she gonna answer it for herself. But I think that from just going back during that time, I'm thinking back to years ago, like I didn't get the impression. The only thing that I think that scared her was the security of having a guaranteed check.
Right.
But there was no fear in doing whatever Donald was doing. At least I didn't get that impression. I think it was just a fear of not getting a guaranteed check, the security of a job, and having her own money.
My own money.
She liked having her own money.
That's what scared me. That's what scared me, my own money. Because I still felt like I had a guaranteed check. He driving trucks. Your check is my
Y'all
check
good,
now.
right?
You know what I'm saying? We married. We said, for rich or for poor. You rich right now, and I don't have no job, so I'm rich too. That's how I looked at it. But not having my own money, because I realized, okay, I got a severance package, beautiful severance package. So I still have my own money coming in, but it was going to stop after a while. And so my main thing was, so what happens when it stops? I got to ask permission to get something? Like, is that what I have to do? Now, thank God that's not what I had to do. But when you're going through things like that of the unknown, you think the worst, But yeah, as I saw things happening and the things that maybe we might have butted heads about, but I'm still succumbing and I'm still following, I saw those things coming into fruition. So it was like, okay, yeah, I'm mad that he told me that 6 months ago, but I'm so happy he told me that 6 months ago, because now here it is, I see it, And I think what's funny now is that the level that we're at now, he always says, something, I love you, but I liked you better before because I'm more like him. Like, now I have two sides. He says he's the same person. He has two sides. Business Donald and Donald are two different people. They say the same thing, but their approach is different. Husband Donald or Father Donald is a little bit more softer in what he has to say. He gonna say it, but he gonna soften it a little bit. Business Donald, he just what it is. Raw, uncut. I hope you heard me because I'm not repeating it again. Type thing.
I wonder if it's because he said there's no F's in business, no feelings, right?
That's what it is.
I don't think you talk to your wife or your kids with no feelings.
Exactly.
But you
it's
may
hard
talk
to. Yeah.
And business wise, there's no feelings.
It just is what it is.
That's a fact.
And so now he's seeing I'm doing it. And it's like the same looks I was giving him, like, who you think you're talking to? I see him kind of looking at me like, almost like, oh God, I created a monster, but he loves it at the same time. So it's funny.
And shout out to you for saying that, because you are absolutely right. And shout out to Michael for helping me to really get this correct there, because she's right. I do use more tact when I'm talking to the children and talking to her. But in business, of course, no, because money doesn't have emotion.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't treat money right, money gone. Money out of here. You know what I'm saying? You can be doing all that crying all you want to, but you should have been crying when you was buying that Louis bag. Money gone. Money don't have no emotion. It doesn't care. So I can't get in my feelings, and they can't get in theirs when I'm talking about business, because that's money. So we just got to get right to that. But people do have feelings. People do have emotions, and so that requires a different level of tact when dealing with them. And that's something that I had to learn, because I wasn't always as tactful as I am now.
I do feel like listening to y'all talk, and this is only the first half, but from what I'm gathering, at least in my head, you've led, and also led a certain way to it. Now, like, you kind of just you are a reflection of him at this point, So like you can do your own thing too. So I'm assuming he make that face. It could be also a shock face, like, damn, all right, she right, you know what I'm saying? Because before it was all him. Now it's like, it's like a yin and yang type thing.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you what it is though. She'll let me talk. Sometimes I mess up sometimes, and like I might get in my feelings about something now, and she be like, oh no, we're not doing that. Ain't no F's in business. Ain't no so they come back on me, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
Just kind of like when you're a father and you tell your kids something, and then you slip up one day and do something, and they remind you, oh no, Daddy, no, you can't do that. So and I enjoy it because she's right. So she keeps me on my toes now. So we keep each other accountable at this point.
That's dope. I like that. See, that's why I wanted to get to know y'all. That was that was easy. It wasn't hard. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all.
That was dope. That was dope.
No.
So I know you said did the trunk business, but I want to talk more about. I want to segue into it though. You mentioned 1099 and W-2, right? So just talk about that for a second before I get into what y'all do now. Like just the difference in the approach of that and what those two things mean.
Well, yeah, like I understand it very well, because sometimes folks, they forget I used to be a W-2 employee. So I was a Teamster shop steward for about 7 years at Owens Corning, and I also worked at the plant as well, and I did very well. And so I understand. I was a W-2 employee for probably 12 years. So I understand that. And honestly, it took me getting laid off from my job to even get into trucking. And then with trucking, I was a company driver for 1 year, and I didn't like it. And I was getting ready to quit, but then somebody talked to me about leasing a truck with no money down and no credit check. And when they did it, I said, okay, I'll try it. And then I tried it and I fell in love with it. Fell in love with ownership. I fell in love with being able to create my own check and to decide how much money I'm going to make every week based upon my actions and not somebody else's actions. And I fell in love with that in my late 20s. I think I was 28. And when I fell in love with that, I just kept doing my thing. I mean, and what I learned from that was I can never work for anybody else again. And I don't like to say that because it sounds bad, but it's real. Like I can't do it. And I'm not knocking nobody that's doing it. I respect all of it. I really do. I mean, we depend on W-2 folks to, buy stuff from us. So I'm not here to knock that. I'm just saying that I know that because I've experienced both sides of that successfully, that I can't do it anymore. And the biggest difference is the fact that I like being in charge of my own destiny. I like knowing that I can give myself a raise anytime I want to. All I got to do is work more. All I got to do is partner with more folks that, I can bring value to, and they can bring value to me, and we're making money together. All I got to do is just continue to grow, and I can control how much money I'm making. I don't have a ceiling. I used to be impressed with making six figures. That was great. No doubt about it. I mean, that's a lot of money. The more you grow, you realize six figures ain't really what it used to be no more. This is not the 80s and the 90s. And so you start moving different. You start handling things a lot differently. And I think for me, the biggest difference was handling things like taxes, everything that we spend money on now. If it doesn't make money, we don't buy it. If it's not going to make money, I'm not buying it. Everything is about how is that going to make us money. So if I buy something and it does not make us money, I can't justify that purchase. Right? Every purchase has to be justified. Is that going to make us some money? Yeah. Okay, let's buy it. And so that's just but that's a mindset thing.
Right.
But like when you're a W-2 employee, you got another check coming next week. You can go out and buy whatever you want to buy until you can't. You got job security until you don't.
Right.
Right. And you never know when that day is going to come. And so I think that's the thing for us that really, for me anyway, that attracted me about being a 1099 guy versus a W-2. But like I said, I'm here for all of it. I mean, my kids, I mean, they got their W-2s. A lot of people we do business with, they got W-2. Some of our brokers that contract with us, they W-2 and they contract with us. I mean, I'm here for all of it. But for me, I know I can't do it anymore. I've been able to see too much. See, I'm kind of like the kid that they let me see too much. And once they let me see too much, that's it, I'm done. When I got my first settlement as a contractor, it was about $1,800, right? But it was me, all me. I paid for the fuel and everything. I paid my truck note and I cleared $1,800. I said, oh, they done effed up. That's what I said to myself.
And that was for the week.
That was for the week. And I was like, oh my God. And I was a company driver. I was making about $500 a week, which I'm not knocking that. That was fine, but I needed more than that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I became an owner operator and I got my first settlement, I was like, I'm about to run the wheels off this truck. You know what I'm saying? I said, man, I'm in control of my destiny. And that's a powerful thing for us, especially as Black people. I don't want to get too much into that, but I do want to say we as Black folks, controlling our destiny to me is important. And so, and I want to implement that with all my children. Like, hey, go out here and make your own check. Go out here and be in control. You don't want to be begging nobody to give you anything. Not to say that we're doing that, but just to say that that's the energy that I'm on. I want to go out here and be in full control over everything that I want in life.
You were saying something. I hate to. I don't know. I don't want to get you in the midst of this all the extra stuff that be going on. But I don't know if you was privy to it. But it was a guy I'm really cool with. He had made a post about the entrepreneur thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I guess you can't be an entrepreneur if you're working. I don't know. It was some sort. I don't know if you knew about it, but the stuff you're saying now, like I kind of feel like that's what he wanted to say, just he couldn't word it that way. If that makes sense. Like he would just kind of say like, cause like you said, 1099, you got W-2. He was like, pretty much it's not the same risk if you're working, cause you got this coming in that third.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm just straight 1099, like I have to really fight for every dollar I'm getting, or I have to really I'm getting it from nothing at this point.
Sure.
And I think when I heard you saying, I'm like, I wonder if Reggie going to think what he should have said, because they kind of beat him up for it with how he said it. His wording wasn't the best, but when you just said it, I thought of what he said. I'm like, okay, that makes sense now what he was saying.
The hardest thing for people to do is articulate this, because people get offended. That's why I'm very careful about my words. But I'm careful, but this is what I really believe. I believe that whichever one you're doing is great. I mean, handle your business. But you can be a W-2 guy and a 1099 guy. You know what I'm saying? You could be using your guaranteed check to fund your dreams.
That's what they were saying. Gotcha.
Right? And I think everybody should be doing that. I mean, you should be taking that guaranteed money. I don't care what you went to school for. At the end of the day, you're still working for somebody. And at any given time, they could decide that you're no longer needed. So take that money and invest it into something that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like flip it. Take that money and go do something else with it. I believe everybody should be doing that. Everybody. I truly believe that. That's just what I believe, and I've seen it happen too many times. I do business with a lot of folks who still have a job, but they're taking that money and invested it into business with me. You know, then when they get to a certain point, they quit. They call me and say, "Hey, Don, I'm done with that job. I'm doing this full time." It's hard to do this. People think it looks good. Like when you get on social media, it looks good, right? It looks like, oh man, go ahead and be an entrepreneur. Stop it, y'all fake. Okay, this is very hard work until you get on autopilot. You know, like we're in a different space now, but in the beginning, we still worked. Like my wife was getting what's it called? Severance. She was getting severance from her job. I still had trucking money coming in. We didn't stop doing this to go start a business, right? We were still getting income coming in. And I tell people that's the smartest way to do it. You got a great job, save your money. The problem that we have sometimes is we take the great job money and go out and buy liabilities. Then we say we want to start a business, but we can't because we got too much debt. Bad debt at that. But like put that money, you know, save it or whatever you're going to do with it, invest it into your business. Don't go out here and buy liabilities. Liabilities trap you. I always tell my kids, like, if you know you hate the job you're on, don't do anything to keep you there. Don't buy nothing that's going to keep you stuck there. Right? If you got a dream that you want in the future, make sure that you can move. Make sure you're fluid. Make sure you can always at any given moment say, "Hey, I'm out of here. Appreciate y'all. It's been great.
It's been great. It's been great.
Hey, I'm out of here." You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Hey, that was a great segue into what I want to get into. So, because you just talked about a lot of financial stuff. So, I think by now they kind of know you know your stuff. Right? So, I want to get into what y'all do. So, the family financial consultants, right? I guess y'all go tell me like how it kind of started, how y'all got into it, and then like what's the idea behind it? What do y'all do?
Okay, you want me to take that?
Yeah, you can take that. Go ahead.
Okay, all right.
That's beautiful. I love it. This is beautiful. I love it. That's just beautiful.
Tag me.
There we go.
I'm in. Okay, so with Family Financial Consultants, we knew what we wanted to do, and we were already in the business. We were doing life insurance, right? And so, of course, with life insurance, you're in the community. You meet all races, all economic levels, all of that, to see what you can do for them. And so, we were trying to come up with a name for our agency, and but we wanted it to have meaning, and we didn't want to just be we just do life insurance at the time, because we knew we were going to grow into other things. And so we came up with Family Financial Consultants because mainly we want, we're trying to save families. That's honestly what it really started out about. Saving families. And of course, like I said, we were doing life insurance. So of course, we're on social media, you see things, somebody put Big Mama passes or something like that. All of a sudden, you see people on there, and hopefully I don't offend anybody, but, we doing a fish fry. We selling fish plates. GoFundMe, and it was apparent to us that there's a spot in society that's bigger than it should be where people are not taking care of their business, okay? And so we're trying to keep families together because families will break apart over money. You know what I'm saying?
I see it.
And lack thereof.
I see it. Yeah.
And you really don't need that, because when the matriarch or patriarch of the family is no longer there, y'all need each other even more, to build. And so you don't need money to get in the way. That's why one of the reasons why we came up with family financial consultants. Also, anybody that we helped, they automatically became a family member of ours. If I'm helping you with insurance, I'm helping my brother find the best insurance plan. Donald's helping his brother, his nephew, whatever. So we take everybody in as family, and they treat us as that. You help somebody, and all of a sudden, oh, don't call me Mrs. Jones, call me Mom. Call me, I'm your Mima. I'm your Mima. I'm somebody calls me their chocolate granddaughter. You're my chocolate granddaughter. I'm your Mima. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. But that's what we want to do. We want to help people. That was our main thing. And I think it's easy to help people when you're not chasing a dollar. You're not in this home and you're hoping, let me try to rack this person up on something. No, let me help you. Let me get you in something that is going to fit you economically that you can keep, And if I'm helping, Grandma Mary, and Grandma Mary is tight, hey, is your daughter, your son coming over, granddaughter? Get them in here. Let's all talk. Because 9 times out of 10, she might take a little small policy, or they may say, listen, put that on me. That's how much it is. That's it. Because a lot of people think the insurance is expensive. It doesn't have to be. If you have if you're with the right person, right agent, or right carrier, it doesn't have to be, And so that's what we want to do. We want to help people. So that's why we said family financial, because we want to help families. We want to help you mainly with your finances, because that's where our biggest issue is, There's a lot of people that are living outside their means, and they shouldn't, And sometimes if you can kind of bring that into focus, then people can make the change. Slowly but surely, slow and steady. What they say, slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So you don't have to just the next day everything is perfect. You have to work towards that. And if you don't have that family, that village to assist you, you're gonna fall off course. But at least if you have somebody that can kind of fit you in and put you in, make it make sense, make the math. It makes, it works.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How you just described it, though, I like that, because, like I said, earlier last year, my grandma passed away, and I think that, like, some of the stuff, I don't know everything, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I do feel like money broke a lot of situations or relationships up based on what people thought should have happened, or what people thought it should have been, or somebody might be dropping the ball and not doing something, but then you start blaming this person, and you think this person... I saw it. I'm like, dang, I'm living a real life soul food. This is crazy, right? And when you describe it that way, I feel like now I see the importance of even saying family financial. I mean, you could do it for yourself too, but it is. I think it would be a good idea to have, say, your grandma come in to bring the niece, the nephew, to come in, so that everybody's on the same page, so that when something does happen, because it's gonna happen, right? It's life. Everybody on the same page still. I think that's what I saw when something happened. Nobody was on the same page. It was you couldn't even mourn what was going on, because it was just like war every other day.
Exactly.
Somebody thinking they're supposed to get this, or well, okay, I'm getting this. So now I feel like that's even more the reason why I want to push, like, even getting this idea of message out there, because it's a bunch of those every day. You might not hear about it, but I see it a lot. I see somebody post, my grandma died, the church wouldn't do the funeral and do this, that, and third. Maybe they didn't have enough money. I don't know. I just saw a rapper who, like you said, live outside your means, right? Who probably talked like having all this money, and then I guess they said that he didn't have money for the funeral, so they got mad at the guy, Gucci Man, all this crazy stuff. And it's like, all right, but like I said, nobody's ready, and nobody financially, I guess, literate enough to get certain things put in order.
Exactly.
So, outside of life insurance, like when you do speak of life insurance, right? Why is it important? How important is it, and why is it important for somebody to have that, regardless of age or whatever? Like,
well, I'm gonna speak to that, because you just said something about literacy when it comes to like life insurance.
Right.
And listen, it's not sexy, and so it's not. If you're paying $50 for a life insurance policy, you're not thinking like, if I'm not here anymore, like, what is my family gonna do? You're not thinking like that. Like, folks are out here raising kids, talking about how much they love their children. Oh, I love my kids. If you're not here tomorrow, what are they left with? How much do you really love them? Do you have anything set up for them? Because you can get you a 30-year term or something like that. It might cost you $40-$50 a month for a couple $100,000. Do you have anything set up? Well, I got a policy on my job. Okay. What happens when you quit that job or you get fired? You don't have anything.
Real quick, I want to break down something you said. I want to forget. So you said a 30 term, a couple hundred grand or 100 grand, something like that, right? Break that down a little more for me. What does
Listen,
that mean?
the biggest reason why folks don't have insurance, my wife already touched on it, was the fact that they think it costs too much, right? And so I can't afford that. Well, we're in a situation where you really can't afford not to have it. But there's folks out here that's got whole families. And they don't have no coverage, but they got 4, 5 kids, and they don't have their stuff together. There's 2 different types of insurance. You got whole life and you got term. And so sometimes when you're dealing with younger folk, they want something that's inexpensive. And you can get them in something inexpensive. You can get a couple $100,000. If you're somebody in your 20s, you can get a couple $100,000. It may not cost you, but 30, 40, $50 a month, something like that. It just depends. If you're a smoker or not, things of that nature, if you got any health conditions or if you're overweight. But you can get insurance at an affordable rate. You really can. But at the end of the day, it's got to be important to you. I've always had life insurance. Ever since I had my children, I've had a life insurance policy going back to my early 20s, because I just felt like, what kind of father am I if I'm not protecting my children in the event of something was to happen to me? They still got to eat. They still got to go to college. They still got to, whatever it is that I want for them, they still got to do it. And so that cost, and people should be able to mourn without worrying about dollars. It's hard to mourn properly when you're worried about how stuff gonna get paid for. So there's 2 different types of insurance. You got whole life and you got term. It just depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to somebody that's a lot older, my wife talking to somebody that's a lot older, they may be interested in a whole life product because, they don't need a couple $100,000. They might need a small, $10, $15, $20,000 whole life policy. If I'm talking to somebody young, they got bigger needs. They got a mortgage. They got small kids. They got to replace income. People don't understand when it comes to life insurance, it's not about burial. It's about, you're married, you and your wife make $100K a piece. Well, she dies, you got to replace that income. That's what insurance does. You got to pay the house off. That's what insurance does. And that's why and I'm going to get into the race thing, because 90% of our clients are Black. So we don't shy away from the fact that we do cater to our community, because folks that don't look like us know things we don't know. They use insurance. When somebody in their family die, they're not worried about stuff. They got stuff taken care of. College is paid for. Everything is good. Somebody in our community passes away, it's a big production. Everybody fighting because we didn't handle business. Now we out here on great jobs making great money, but we didn't prioritize. So sometimes it's not even a matter of education. We know it. It's just not a priority. It's not important enough to us, right? Until somebody died, then it's like, it's too late now. Nah, you should have had that beforehand. You know what I'm saying? That's not how insurance works. You don't get to get sick and get an illness, then say, oh, I need an insurance policy. Nah, that's not how it works. You got to get it beforehand. Insurers want to make money too now. So they're not trying to bet on not trying to bet on somebody that's already sick,
Yeah.
So while you're young and healthy, I always encourage young folks, man, just especially if you got kids, go on and get you a policy, get it set up, and be done with it. Because it ain't gonna get no cheaper. The older you get, it's gonna get more and more expensive. So the younger you are, go ahead and get it out of the way.
And it'll be at a fixed rate. So if you get that type of policy and it's $30 a month and you're 30 now, well, when you're 30 years from now, it's only going to last you a 30-year term. But the ones that we do, they're convertible. So you can convert it over the whole life. So you don't lose it after 30 years.
Gotcha.
But the 30 years of you having it, you're still just paying $30. It doesn't matter if you got sick and your health is worse now. It's all about when you got it then. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just asking. I don't know. Is the way somebody dies, does that matter?
No. Except suicide.
Okay. I watched
Right.
another one day that said that. I was making sure.
Yeah, and even then, like the way insurance is set up, after 2 years, it can't be contested. So you just got to make it 2 years as far as it being contested. So if let's say
You have insurance for 2 years and then something happened to you. Is that what you're saying?
no, what I'm saying, like let's say you take out a big policy, right? For $500,000 policy, right? And then let's say 6 months later you die. The insurance company can contest it because they want to make sure that you didn't already know you were sick.
Yeah.
Right. But let's just say at the 2 year mark, you die. they can't contest it because it's been more than 2 years. They can't even look back and see if there was anything there. They can't ask for medical records and look into it to see if you already knew. So you could know that you may be sick, but as long as you last 2 years, they can't contest it. That's what I'm
Gotcha.
trying to say.
Okay, gotcha.
But at the end of the day, that's not really folks' issue. Folks just don't want to pay for it. And I to some degree, I guess I can understand that, even though that was never my reality. But like some folks just don't want to pay for it. It's just not important to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not important.
Now, I know y'all also do health insurance, right? But speak like you said, it's all insurance, all the same thing. But like, I feel like even when you think about car insurance, I know they're not into that, but like, I think sometimes people don't think about car insurance until they're in an accident. Like they be like, damn, I'll cover it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you could tell somebody to get full coverage and you can have all the answers. They won't do it.
But if you even think about, like, this is one of the things I always say, especially to my younger people that even ask me anything about life insurance. Well, I mean, but do I really need it? I mean, I'm fine now, but we're like, do I really need it? And they'll be sitting there and they'll have, an iPhone or the newest Android phone, and I'm like, well, let me give you this example. You've got that phone, right? And when you did your upgrade or when you went to that store to get that phone, you got insurance on it, right? For if the screen cracked or anything like that, or you can get a replacement, right? Yeah. And how much is that? Oh, it's like $20 a month. Okay. So you're telling me that the value of that phone is more important to you than the value on your life, because you can get an insurance policy for 20, maybe 25, maybe 30. If they're really young, like, in their 20s, you're in that 25 to 35 range. But that's for like $200,000. So you're trying to tell me that you don't have money for you to secure yourself or your children, if you have small children, whatever. You don't have money for that. But Lord forbid I don't have insurance on my phone.
Got to have that phone.
And I have to buy another phone.
Imagine going a couple days without that.
Okay.
Damn your kid's
they don't
life,
even
right?
think about it. They don't even care how much. I think they could say the insurance on that brand new iPhone is $50. They're like, put it on the bill. I got it. But yet
crazy.
when it comes to your own life, you don't even give that much value, or the value of your loved ones, And so perspective is needed here.
That's
Even
a
when you
great
get a
example.
car, you have to have insurance. Do you keep it all the time? Some people don't keep it. But when you get a car, you have to have insurance.
I'm gonna tell you this too, and me and my wife both deal with this. Sometimes people will say things like, "Oh, I don't plan on dying no time soon." Bruh,
Nobody
bruh,
dying.
bruh, come on, man. Really? You really gonna say that to me? You don't plan on dying no time soon? I mean, but that's and then we'll go to church, but you never know the hour. You never know what might happen. But then I talk to you about some insurance, but I don't plan on dying. Okay, I don't know nobody that died. They planned on it.
Exactly.
Looked at their phone and was like, you know what? It's on my calendar.
a good
today.
day,
It's on my
man.
schedule today. At 4:30, I'm dying.
I'm dying.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me hurry up and get some insurance.
So we make, and we know it's a real thing, but we have a lot of fun with it because when we first started doing this, we used to get mad at folks, man. Like, because we know what's important, and we've always known it was important. Me and my wife have had policies for way before we started doing this business, so
Yes.
we've always known it was important. So you find yourself getting mad at folks, like, really, bro, and some of these be your people, like some of your
You got his
folks.
fist balled up and everything.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting mad. Some of these folks be your people. They be like your good friends and family members. You be like, you know what?
You ain't who I thought you
Yeah,
was.
you know what? You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even rock with you like that.
Okay.
You ain't got no. You don't want to have no insurance on your family. Nah, we cool. I see
From
you.
talking to y'all, I feel like, and I don't know if y'all have this thought, but I feel like this is not even a profession where you should have to sell it to someone. Like you shouldn't have to be salesman. You shouldn't turn pitch it. It kind of should be common sense. Like, hey, do you love your family? Do you love your kids? Like, do you want XYZ? But I feel like y'all might have to tap into that Bastion time where it's like, hey, look, this is why you need it. I have to really convince you why you need it. I should have to convince you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when it comes to life insurance, you got to sell it.
That's
You do.
wild.
You got, and that's crazy. But
Yeah, you do.
got to sell life insurance.
You got to sell it. You got to make sure you have some examples on deck that's relative to that particular age group or whatever. Because our young people, they need it. I'm dead honest. You need to have life insurance because when you get older, you will be so much happier in how much it costs. Because of course you may want to add on more later on. And you will realize that for this same policy, this amount, you're paying $20 or $30 for, 10 years later, 20 years later, oh, it's a whole lot more
Right.
for less.
I guess my thought process is I'm watching you have to gear up for maybe you got an appointment or somebody coming through to talk. I'm like, okay, let me get my notes together. Why this person's life should be important to this person. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's just.
And I'm gonna tell you this too with us, man. And we say this with all due respect. Like people say, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna wait," or "I'm not interested." Bro, I got insurance. I ain't mad at you. You ain't got to be interested. I'm just telling you. You come in for a consultation. We're gonna talk about it. If you don't want no insurance,
Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah. We're not going to push you, but you can't say that we didn't
right.
try to empower you, you know, to make the best decision, not only for yourself, but more so for your family, the people that you leave behind. You know, I can, to be transparent, my grandmother, she had insurance. She didn't have a lot, but she had some insurance, you know, and when she passed, I was her executress. When she passed, I wasn't left with a whole lot, but you know what? Whatever she wanted to get done,
got done.
I was able to get it done. You know what I'm saying? And she did have a little something left over, you know, that I was able. She had 6 other grandkids, and one of her things was she said, "Whatever's left over, please just split it with the other 6 grandkids." And that's what I did, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, I didn't even hesitate because she had enough to do that. And I was able to fulfill her last wishes. It was good. And I was straight. I was straight because I already did what I needed to do. When I met Donald, I had one policy, a small policy. It was enough to cover if something happened to me. I didn't have any kids. So I didn't see the value in, okay, I might need more. But then once we got married, or even we were talking about engagement, it came into the picture to me that, hey, if something happened to him, I got to take care of these kids myself.
Right.
We need to make sure he has enough insurance. So then, you know, we reevaluated that, and then we was like, and he was like, well, shoot, I'm straight. We got to get you straight, because if something happened to me, something happened to you, I need the assistance too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it just brings everything in the picture, but you have to be willing to acknowledge it, and you don't have to be comfortable with talking about death, but you do have to be comfortable enough to talk about how your death will affect those that love you. Because there are people that they just fall apart.
Yeah, I see it. I want to give me an illustration. Like, say somebody come for a consultation. How does it normally work? So we come talk. Then what? From there, I'm supposed to just make a decision right that moment. Like,
well, no. When somebody talks to us, first thing we do is we do a financial analysis of everything they got going on. So they might say, well, Don, I owe $200,000 on the principal on my house. I got that. I also make $100,000 a year. I got 4 kids, you know, so we're gonna factor in all of that. It ain't just a burial policy. It's about, like, you know, if my wife lost me tomorrow, I got to put something together to make sure she can continue to, you know, she can pay the house off and she can continue to manage financially for a period of time. Most economists say you need 7 to 10 times your income. Of course, that can get a little pricey. But at the very least, we do things like mortgage protection. So folks who might buy a brand new house and $300,000 will die. Can you put something together to cover the mortgage? You know, so if me or my wife dies, at least we ain't worried about the house. I mean, they can get that taken care of. There's a big financial hole left whenever the husband or the wife dies. Sometimes some men, if they have the wife who is a stay-at-home mom, they may think, well, I don't need insurance on her. But yes, you do, because if she's a stay-at-home mom and she passes away, who's going to raise your children? Now you got to pay somebody to raise these kids, right? So there's still a hole there that you got to deal with financially. So we just kind of look at everything, and whether you make a decision, you don't have to make a decision right then and there. Of course not. It's just our job to give you the consultation on what you need to do as it pertains to life insurance or health insurance or Medicare, whatever it is that we're doing. We do a lot. We do cancer insurance, where, you know, we do cancer policies where basically if you so much as get a diagnosis from cancer, you get cut a check. Stuff like that. Stuff that folks in our community don't really know about, but other folks been privy to for decades. So we try to get the word out as best as we can. But yeah, it's just our job to give folks information, not to help them not to necessarily force them into
pressure them.
Yeah, right. We don't do that. We don't do that kind of stuff. Never have, and we never will. So we just give folks information and then we leave it up to them.
Yeah, we just want to inform people and empower them to make a decision that they feel is going to be best for them. And we don't have to agree with it, but you can't say that we didn't give you the information where you can make a decision.
I know y'all spoke on the fact that like y'all got a high percentage of Black clients, and but y'all having the information y'all have or the knowledge y'all have in the insurance business. I know nobody wanted to talk about it because it's death involved, of course, but some families like they do. I hate to say come up because it sounds so bad when you say it, but they sometimes somebody dying it helps that family out a lot financially when they got the right things in place. That person, like you mentioned earlier, stop working and stuff like that. They'll stop working, they own their own, and now they might open up a business because they got 100-something grand. Maybe they didn't have a lot of kids, a lot of people to share the profit with whatever was left. But now they not working anymore. But then they use that and they turn that into like millions of dollars. But do y'all deal with that, or do y'all try to preach that a lot? Like maybe, yeah, it's not about you right now, but later on your kids can use this and they can be successful with this, own their own business, doing something different, not living check to check, not being in debt, not having to take care of your debt. Also, I don't think we think about that. The fact that you leaving debt behind as well, that might help you too. I'm assuming.
Well, listen, and some folks may disagree with this, but three of the pillars of building wealth are going to be insurance, your investments, and savings. And so insurance is always there because it's a big part of it. Because if you pass away or your wife passes away or whoever, if you have a nice insurance policy there, they can take that and go do a number of things with it to generate more wealth, right? And you want that. And now we hear a lot of, silly things, I don't want them living off me, all this other kind of, we hear all that kind of weird stuff. But what I can tell you is that these folks that don't look like us, that's the kind of stuff that they do.
Exactly.
They do this stuff and they do this at a very young age. So it's very affordable. But here's the thing, it's affordable for everybody. We don't know anybody that we're Facebook friends with or real life friends with that can't afford insurance. It's just not a priority. You just got to make it a priority. That's all. I mean, you can afford anything in life that you make a priority, and that's just the reality of the situation. So with that being said, like, when it comes to us, I mean, we're going to we lay it all out, like if you just want to get something just to cover the house, that's fine. But at the end of the day, when you pass away, they can use that monies for whatever, business or whatever it is that they want to do. And like I said before, people who don't look like us, that's how they use insurance. That's how that was the come up in the family. When you go back generations, it all probably started with some big insurance policy that somebody had, and they flipped that and turned it into a business, and they kept going, so forth and so on. And that's just something that we're tapping into that now. Us as Black folks are tapping into wealth, because like I said, wealth is not sexy. It's not it's not sexy. It ain't rich. It's that, one of my favorite books is The Millionaire Next Door. Fantastic book. Wealthy people move differently. You may be driving a Camry. A rich person is driving a brand new Benz. But that wealthy person, like, his wealth is sustainable. It's going to keep going. That rich person, they're probably one bad month away from, losing that Mercedes, right? But it looks good. It all looks good. So, so it's kind of how this is just us just having a candid conversation with you right now. We would never talk to our clients like this. On this type of level, unless they ask for it. But, but this is just us having real talk with you now.
But I'm with you on that. I feel like sometimes people, I guess, and there's nothing wrong wanting certain things. I want what you want, but like you said, prioritize. Some people will work hard. Like they want, I gotta get a BMW. All right, but like you said, then they won't have license. They won't have certain things that's important. That's really going to be, I guess, worth more than a BMW for certain people, because your kid's 7, you gone. What they going to do with that? It's not paid for. Now it's somebody else's. We done lost 5 times now.
All that money that you paid in to get that, have that car note, they don't get that money back.
For real. You buy change. Change ain't insured. Like, it's just a lot of things that, I mean, you think insurance, like, it's I like the way y'all described it when you described it at the very beginning too, because you didn't come on here talking like, well, we do this and you make this, is that. There was like, it's to help, it's to do this. But a lot of people also use, not people that want people to get it, but people that buy insurance, they use that as a safety net sometimes. Like, they'll get insurance on somebody they know is not living the right way or not going to be here very long. They good. Like, once that person go, all right, cool, go cash that real quick. And that's how it goes. Like, that's a business for some people. Some people just really, their business is buying insurance people. And that's it. Like, that's it.
Yeah, we get people call us all the time saying, I need to put insurance on my brother. my
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah.
just other people, right? So as long as they have what's called an insurable interest, you can take a policy out on anybody as long as you have an insurable interest, meaning that like their death is going to impact you financially in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You may be asked to pay for something. You can take out a policy on them. So we get those phone calls.
Yo, imagine that.
All
That's
the time.
wild.
Yeah.
It's not wild. It's just like, I mean, I'm thinking about it now. You start talking about like people who don't look like us do this. That I can see that. That's like, to me, it's like a Lifetime movie. Like, I'm going to go get on him because they just called and said he got cancer, or, you know, he might not make it 3 more years. I'm going to go ahead and get insurance on him. I might have to pay for X, Y, Z. And now you came up.
That's right. I mean, think back to Big Mama, right? Big Mama had a policy on everybody because Big Mama know that these kids is not responsible. So her mindset was, I'm putting a policy on everybody. So you go sit down with grandma. Grandma got policies that you ain't even know about. They 30, 40 years old probably. But that's just her mindset. She know that she done seen a lot. She know all y'all gonna die one day and y'all ain't got no insurance. You know how Big Mama talk, baby, get you some insurance, baby. She know you ain't gonna get no insurance, so she gonna go get it herself.
Yep.
Right? But like so people take out policies all the time for other people. No doubt.
Yeah, I had a client, if I can share this, I had a client she was the young Big Mama because she was a grandmother early. But she was still the young Big Mama, and she was raised by her mother, and her mother was the Big Mama. And she said, and her daughter lived with her with her little granddaughter. So I was visiting with her in regards to life insurance. Matter of fact, Medicare was what we were really there. I was really there talking to her about because we do life insurance, we do ACA, Affordable Care. I still call it Obamacare, but I'm supposed to say Biden Care, and Medicare, right? So I was talking to her, and it was in regards to Medicare and about her plan, got her all fixed up and everything. And then she called me maybe a couple days later about a question about her plan. And then she said, do you do life insurance? And I said, yeah, we do life insurance as well. You have any questions about anything? She says, well, I have a policy, but I really think that my daughter needs a policy because she living her life. And I kind of knew what that meant because my mom and dad lived their life. That's why I was with my grandmother. I said, okay, not a problem. Let's talk about it. So she, gave me a little background. And she said, and I believe the young lady was like 24 at the time. So she was like, okay, well, how much would it be just to get, a little policy on her? Maybe like $20,000. So I did the quote for her, but with the particular carrier that is a really great carrier, the premium had to be at least about $25. And even at $20,000 whole life, it wasn't $25 for this young lady. So then she's like, and wait a minute, no, and my granddaughter too, and this and that. So we started talking. Anyway, long story short, got a term policy on her daughter. I think it was like $150,000 on her daughter. And then we have something called an estate builder. Kind of like the Gerber policies. You get it on the young children. As long as they're 14 or younger, you can get it on them, and then it automatically doubles at the age of 18, but the premium stays the same. So she got that for her little granddaughter. Just forward thinking, being what a big mama would do. And about 6 months later, she called me and asked me something about the policy. And I told her, I said, well, yeah, the way it is a 2-year wait, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, 3 years later, she calls me and she says, I need help when the paperwork comes in because I lost my daughter. So we talked about that, and this and that. And she said, when the paperwork comes, I'll explain to you later. We can meet up. I said, okay. Paperwork came about 2 days later. She called me. I went to see her. Her daughter committed suicide.
Oh.
And I came to realize that when she called me 6 months, into the policy, she was seeing things with her daughter that there's something ain't right.
Right.
A little depressive, things like that. I still don't know the story, but basically I told her about that 2-year wait thing. So in my mind, I believe that she told her daughter, you better hang in there, okay? And whatever it is, cut it out. Let me help you. But the thing about it is now she left with this grandbaby. The baby was 7 when the mama died. Who taking care of that baby? Grandma.
Yep.
So if she had not took that policy out for that little bit, and the baby was in private school, so she had not taken that policy out for that baby, how's she gonna pay for that child's private school on top of, keeping her
Everything
lifestyle the
else.
way that she needs it to be after losing her mother?
Like it don't necessarily financially inconvenience her.
Exactly, because she was just on Social Security. That's it. Matter of fact, she was on Medicaid. So that was hard enough. But her daughter was working, which was good, and her daughter did have a policy at work, so that kicked in too. But it wasn't no $150,000 like the check that she got cut for her, for her for her to use for her granddaughter. So it's little things like that. Like you don't think of stuff like that, but she was so happy that this $25 that she was spending, got that. And now her granddaughter still has that estate builder. It'll still double when she turns 18, and she can turn it over to the granddaughter if she wants to at that time. And now that granddaughter is going to have $70,000 at the age of 18, $70,000 worth of whole life insurance, building cash value. If they need to borrow from the cash value, if they need to, we don't tell people to do that. But if they need to borrow from it, you can get whatever you need to help with her.
That's
you
dope.
know, and that's the stuff that when you see the commercials, Colonial Penn, some of those that come up on television, they don't tell you that. They just for $9 you can get this, and that's not even true. It's $9 per every 1,000 of coverage, but they don't tell you that. We come to you and we tell you everything. We lay it out, and you do what you want to do with it.
I think the difference is, like I said, it don't seem like y'all trying to hustle nobody to get it. It's just like, this is what's going on. It's important to the community. Let's work. Let's see what we can do. But some people, you'll feel like they're trying to hustle. They're trying to get you to get anything to get they back in on it. So, yeah, I think that's a good story too, because I think that story, like seeing it, I think that's a lot of people's story. They just don't know it, or that could be anybody and not know it. I wanted to ask you a question before I get into that. So I seen y'all posted that January is Financial Wellness Month. What is the state of your financial wellness? I want y'all to touch on financial wellness for a second. And why? I know it's January, but like, what's the importance of January being that month? Like,
That's just a month that
start the year off right, and
but you know that when it comes to financial wellness, we're talking about a whole range of things, right? We're talking about like your net worth. When you sit down and you do your assets and liabilities, and you get to the bottom, like what's your net worth? Like after everything that you owe, everything that you got a debt on, like and everything that's of value, like when you subtract these two things, like what are you really worth, right? Any kind of bad financial decisions that you've made, have you taken the time out to really like kind of examine these things and move a little bit differently? So financial wellness is just kind of like anything else, kind of like going to the gym and your health, like what are you eating, like taking an examination of what you're putting in your body. Like, so we understand that. We understand, the health thing. And that same thing has to be applicable to finances. Like, what kind of moves are we making that are hurting us financially? You know what I'm saying? And these moves generally are moves that we've developed over decades, bad habits. You know what I'm saying? Getting bad loans, high interest rates, things of this nature. Not taking care of things like insurance and investments and retirement and things of this nature. We just don't, so just take some time in January to just do an inventory of your entire financial house, like where you are with your 401k or your IRA or however you're doing your investments. Take an account of your insurance. Do you even have insurance? And if you have a whole life product, how much cash value is in it? Just are you, how are you moving financially? Just kind of taking some time out in January to kind of just to really
map it out.
To really map it out and kind of digest the whole situation so you can kind of start moving differently.
Yeah.
I asked that because I know sometimes end of December, early January, normally people like to do things like a vision board and stuff like that for the year, which is fine. Like I'm always map everything out, of course. But when I seen that, I wonder like, okay, well, you got people that would do a vision board but won't do the financial part. So like you want to do all these things, but you don't know if you have the money to do it, or if you should even be doing that, or if you prioritizing right for your vision board of what you'll be doing this year. Because you might need to sit back and maybe not do as much, but get that in check first and then go from there.
Yeah.
But I thought it was dope that's in January because it starts a whole new year. It's like a fresh start, and hopefully, most time people do something, they do it for the first 2-3 months, and even then it's like it's still okay because I'd rather you do it then than not doing it at all. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Because that's
true.
just living reckless. At least I know you got some kind of initiative, but it just I guess everybody not groomed to like have that discipline to just keep year in year out and actually.
Look, they're not. Okay, because if we're being totally honest, most debt is made in December for Christmas. There's a lot of people that go out and they just go in the hole, right? And then in January, well, January through March, they come out the hole. Why?
Income
Tax
tax.
time. Okay, so statistically speaking, people go in the hole and then they come right back out the first quarter of the year. Problem is they wind up going back in that hole because they get that tax return, they get that come up, and they still squander it, or they have to use all of it to pay to get themselves out of that hole.
Right.
Right. So I'm not against vision boards.
Neither.
I'm really not. But I must say that this year, vision boards irritated me a little bit. Mainly because I felt like if you're going to do a vision board for 2023, if you're doing a vision board for 2023, you don't need to be doing it January. I don't even think you need to be doing it in December. Start doing it in November, right before Thanksgiving, like that couple of weeks before Thanksgiving. Put your vision board out, because I feel like then that, especially if it's going to be on a financial standpoint, then that is going to then show you, okay, those shoes that you put up on there and that car that you said that you like, that word of stability and all that, you're not going to go out there and buy every Lego or every two color pair of Jordans for your children that they're gonna grow out of in 2 months. Or that new game system. You're not gonna do all of that because you're gonna realize this is what my vision is for 2023. Doing all that is gonna prevent me or slow me up from my vision. So let me make an edit here. Maybe it'll just be one pair of Jordans, or maybe it'll just be something different. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with you. I think you should do both, and then you see if one aligns with the other, because they might not align with each
Exactly.
other.
And then if you come into 2023 not so in the hole, then you'll make better financial decisions because you're
Yeah.
not strapped so tight. You know what I mean?
He said something too. I think what happens is one board looks sexy and the other one don't.
It doesn't.
So,
Yeah.
Typically, they go with the sexy board.
Exactly. And that's okay. I get it. But in your mind, when you're ready, because everybody's not ready, they may say, oh yeah, I don't do resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions. Number one, because I don't never stick with it. I'm honest with myself. I don't stick with any resolutions that I put up. But what I do is I identify things that I want to fix for this year. And I do it in quarters. So I identify what I need to have fixed and worked on between January and March. This is what I want to accomplish. And of course, it may not be everything. And so then it trickles over to the next quarter. But I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to keep on working on that until I can move on to the next thing. I just think that that's realistic.
I think short-term goals are more realistic anyway.
Yeah,
So.
and easier to achieve.
Also, I would say this too. Even when we're talking to the kids, we always tell them, like, where you want to be tomorrow is dictated by every move you make today. So a lot of times we think tomorrow is just gonna just magically be what we wanted to be, but those moves were made 6 months prior to that, a year prior to that, 3, 4, 5 years prior to that. Sometimes folks see us in business and they're like, man, you just went from trucking to insurance, and y'all got billboards and stuff going on around the city. Like, it's almost like you just snap your finger and done this. No, man, this was work. When I was in trucking, I had a vision, man. I knew that we were going to be doing some bigger stuff. I knew that, like I said before, I'm all about purpose and profit. I need both. We need to make money, but I got to do it in a purposeful manner. So all those years of driving trucks, I was strategizing, how are we going to get out of here? How am I get out of this truck and go do something else? So, 'cause what happens in life, sometimes we do stuff and we say we love it. I said I love trucking, but I didn't. I love the lifestyle trucking gave me. And that's a difference. And folks don't quite understand that. They'll be going to a job every day because they're making 6 figures, and they'll say, oh, I love my job. No, you don't. You love the lifestyle it gives you. But then when you come to the realization that you don't love it, then you start making moves to get out of that situation. So us getting into insurance, that was my wife having several years of managing her 401k properly. That was me having several years of trucking and managing my finances properly. So when we got into insurance, we could actually help people. We wasn't worried about a dollar. We really genuinely can go in your home and help you. And if you didn't want it, there's no worries. We ain't mad at you. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to give you information because we're in a position to where we can actually help people because we're not concerned about the dollar. We're just concerned about giving folks information, and the dollars, they're gonna come.
That's what I like about everything y'all said so far too. Is like, I think as people watch it, they notice that it's not about the dollar for y'all. So that's even more reason to want to come get the information from somebody when you realize there's no ulterior motive. Granted, like I said, purpose and profit. Yeah, it's business, so you gotta do business, but it's a purpose behind it. And I think people are more likely to deal with people that got a purpose rather than just think about profit. That's just my personal opinion, though. But I noticed that from talking to y'all, like, it's not about that for y'all. It's all about getting the information out. I know you've done it a few times. You got free game D-on-D. I don't know if I'm saying it right or not.
Free game Don D.
Free game Don D. Okay, damn. I can't read, but it's all good. Free game Don D. The one I liked the most recently was it said always own your failures.
Right.
I like that one. I just like the owning part because what I do, I be trying to be to own the area, own this, but I don't think people really get what own means.
Right.
You ask me questions about what you should do with this, that, and third. Now you owning that. You gotta kind of make a thing for yourself. But I wanted to read one of the things you post. I want you to kind of explain a little bit. So it says, if people are offended because you've changed, you should get offended that they expected you to remain the same. I like that. I like that term, right? I didn't think about you in the beginning when y'all said, in the beginning he would have to lead and say certain things, right? But then you changed, and now you give her the face sometime because she's not the same when she first came into the business. That's a good thing, though, right? If I think now, if he didn't give you that look, like, it'd be weird. Like, you've been doing it for how long? I'm still
exactly.
Tell you,
Still where I was at.
You know what I'm saying? But now it's like y'all work hand in hand. But can you like dive into that a little bit?
Well, listen, I was even speaking that on a much like just even lower level than that. It was more so like you should be always trying to grow as an individual. And sometimes in life, the more you grow, the people that think they know you, they start saying, "Oh man, you done changed, man. I'm supposed to be the same my whole life. I ain't supposed to grow." You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, I ain't supposed to grow. And so, I know when we started moving differently, sometimes people would say that to us early on. "Oh man, you done changed, Don. You doing stuff differently." I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. But they didn't really mean it as a compliment. It was almost like, "Oh, you changing."
Yeah.
But you're supposed to be growing, man. So you should be mad at them for expecting you to stay the same. Everybody should be trying to grow. You should be reading more. You should be learning more. We love to read. Reading books, man. There's a lot of knowledge in books. If people have already gone through things and they put it in a book for you to read, so you ain't got to go through the same thing.
Yeah.
So, we got into business, man. Well, I was always a reader, but I'm definitely more of a reader now. And, you just start looking at things differently. You start looking at the world differently. I mean, like, if you are a sales guy and it's raining today, it's raining for the guy that's in sales that did go out and the guy that didn't go out. It's the same rain. But that guy that's got a stronger mind, he's out there in the rain hustling and handling his business. We're all dealing with the same rain, but you stayed in. I went out. It's a whole different mindset. And that's growth. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be growing. You're supposed to be getting to a point to where you can move differently. My wife does not move the same. Her friends, they love her, but they realize that she's not the same. And it's not a bad thing. She's just growing. And what happens is that people that don't grow, you outgrow them.
That's what I think. That's what it be too.
And I think and they know it. See, it's not that you changed, it's that they didn't.
That's what it is. Yeah.
They couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
You kept growing and they stayed the same. And so can you come back down here with me? No.
For what?
But you can come up though. But see, I got to be careful how long I hang with you because you're gonna bring me down. That's just how life works. If you're not willing to come up, if I keep talking to you, at some point I'm gonna come down to you because I'm gonna feel like I gotta be relatable. But really, truth be speaking, because I'm on another level, I gotta hang around folks that are ahead of me because I gotta have something to aspire to. Right. So that's just how it works, man. So when people are telling you that, you done changed and you're growing, hey man, Don't get offended by that. You know how many folks trying to keep it real? They staying in bad situations because they're trying to keep it real. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle, man. But like, I don't want to get too deep into that. But like, I'm sure there's a level of I want to, I want to be in this neighborhood. I want to show folks that I'm, and all that's great. But at the same time, I'm gonna have security around here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have security. I'm gonna be here, but it's gonna have my security. So
I seen some other day, and I didn't watch it, but I seen the headlines and I thought about it, and like, I know people don't like when people say things that I guess they don't really agree with, or it don't hit. I guess you're not wording it to where it's like sensitive or having feelings involved. But I think it might have been 28 on Vlad. He was like, Nipsey would be alive if his store was on Rodeo Drive. And I thought about it, I'm like, well, yeah, it makes sense. Like the store where people gonna spend a lot of money and they shopping at. But because he wanted to be in the heart of like you said, you try to keep it real. Like I'm authentic. I'm still here. Like you ain't gotta prove nothing. I don't think he had to prove anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? I get the idea behind it, but you don't have to do that. But I think sometimes society and like you said, people that's down there, they don't change, will have you thinking that you need to do that. So that I don't think you changed. But it's like sometimes you change and that helps that community when you change. So
agree because I think all of us as a people, man, I think we all want to do better. We just got to see it. So if you see somebody come from nothing and then they become something, that's something to aspire to. But I think that growing up too often, we don't see enough people that look like us. And that's why I'm not ashamed. My wife always look at me when I say this, but it's real. Like 90% of our clients are Black, and we cater to that. And we want to show other Black people like, hey, you can. We ain't doing nothing special. You can do what we're doing. And I didn't think it was possible until we started doing it.
That's true.
I didn't. You know what I'm saying. But then I got around other Black folks that were doing it at a high level, and I said, okay, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I can do that. They're doing it. I can do it. And so when you see other people moving a certain way that look like you, listen, man, representation is important. People take it lightly. Oh, well, race don't matter. Yes, it does. If I see somebody white doing something that I want to do, I don't look at it the same as somebody Black doing it. It's just how it is.
That's true.
I'm just telling you.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? When I see somebody white doing it, I see entitlement. I see privilege. And that may not always be the case. I'm just telling you what initially pops in your head. And I see a brother doing it. Okay, yeah, he from my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? He understand. So if he can do it, I can do it. If he can overcome those obstacles, then I can do it too. Mm-hmm. I can do it as well. So, but sometimes we get caught up. Oh, you didn't change. Yeah, I mean, I have. I'm growing, and I want you to grow too. So I'm gonna give you the books that I'm reading. I'm gonna put you on game, and what you do with it is up to you. But I'm gonna put you on game. Anybody that asks us for anything, we give it to them. Yeah. We give it to them, man. Like they ask us for information. Even the other businesses, like I still get people call me about trucking. Information on trucking, I give it to them. I feel like I don't lose a dollar by helping you make a dollar. I ain't never been that kind of brother. I just don't believe I'm losing any money. How am I lose money helping you? I done already made the money. And even if I didn't, I still ain't losing nothing to help you. Nah, man. So that's just how we both move, man. So we, anybody asks for anything and we got information on it, we're gonna give it to them.
That's right.
Well, like let's say for somebody wanted to contact y'all or get with y'all or get no more information on life insurance, anything like that. How do they contact you guys? Whether is it a phone number, Facebook? They come to the office, or how you want them to contact y'all?
I'd say the best way to contact us is via email. info@myffcs.com. That'd be the best way because we both get it as well as our admin assistant. So 3 people's eyes get on that same email. We also are on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Family Financial Consultants. We have a website, www.myffcs.com. So we have 4 different ways of getting in contact with us. We do have our phone numbers as well, but if you go to those the social media sites, the website, and even in our email, once you send us email, we reply back, it has all of our numbers in there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. I want to make sure I get that information out to them, man. But yeah, like I said, talking to y'all was really dope. I ain't gonna lie. I felt like it was informative. It was entertaining. I got to know y'all more.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite part. Like knowing people is my favorite part. But information is something I really want to give out. So if you notice my guests, I always try to make sure they got some kind of stature or something. You just can't be anybody coming on here. So like, knowing if I have somebody on here, I typically try to make sure they can give some knowledge or something, whether it's through their life or through something they know. What I will say, I want to end this, like, one of the best things I think that happened last year was when Lacey did come here, right? For one, I felt like I shot it really well. I don't know, hers was just different. I don't know, maybe because of nighttime, I don't know how, when daytime, I don't know how the sun was hitting her, I don't know. But I felt like the shot was just real good. I was like, okay, I'm gonna shoot this way more often, you know what I'm saying? That was number one. The second thing was she had hit me up afterwards. This was my favorite part of the podcast, hit me up afterwards. And she was like, hey, funny story. My dad said that he know you listen to your podcast, da da da. And I was like, hey, for real? She told me who you was. And I was listening to Ken's. I said, oh, it's the same guy from the Ken Make. Yeah, I'm like, that's crazy how stuff go full circle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But to me, for me to have somebody on, and I thought it was a good episode, but then for them to tell me that their parent says, yo, I'll listen to this, that was dope to me. I was like, oh, I made it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my opinion, though. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too when we were sponsoring Making a Difference, Ken Making show, and he said, "But hold up, I heard y'all on there." I said, "Yeah, man, we get around a little bit,
yeah, man,
just a little bit."
Like I said, I'm happy. I'm ready for y'all to put more information out there and just get on social media more. I do feel like clips and putting knowledge out there is the first step. So even something like this, I don't care if one person was to go get it. That's the one person that didn't get it before, but also it's out there, you know. And I always, like, for the title of the podcast, I would try to make it whereas people know more things are going on around here than the masses. That's not I don't know how y'all feel about it. I don't really care about the masses, but I'm not opposed to it, you know. It's a lot of money being brought to the city, but it's 52 weeks in a year. So 51 weeks is other things going on, you know what I'm saying? And life goes on. But I always want people to know, like, when somebody say, what does it do in the city? What we got here? We got the offer. I want them to be able to go to my page and be like, okay, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully now people know that we got life insurance is the big deal, you know what I'm saying? We got some black people selling life insurance, thank God, you know?
Yeah. Health insurance too now.
Health insurance.
Yes, health insurance and Medicare.
Let me say this too, because I want to make sure people know who they're talking to. If they're looking for an opportunity, you know, if they're looking to make six figures passively, we're the people to come talk to. We do Medicare. Medicare is big business in America, gigantic. And so we have a lot of brokers who all they do is sell Medicare. And they came off of very high paying jobs. Now they're with us making six figures. A lot of them making it six figures passively, just writing Medicare. And it doesn't cost anything. So
explain that a little bit to me. I'm sorry. I want to get into that.
Okay, Medicare is health insurance for seniors, 65 and older. So folks get on Social Security, right? That's their retirement. Medicare is the health insurance side of that. And so once they get put on Medicare only covers 80%, right? But they need some sort of Medicare Advantage plan or some sort of supplement. And so that's where we come into play at. And a lot of the Medicare Advantage plans are $0. Like they don't cost anything, but we get paid for writing it, right? And so it's big business. If you never paid attention probably, but
on my checks?
No, to Medicare commercials.
Oh.
Like there's so many commercials on TV, you know, talking about Medicare. It's just really big business in America. And so most of our business comes from Medicare, no doubt about that. And so we have a lot of brokers that are contracted with us, probably about 30 that are contracted with us, and they do Medicare. They do life insurance and other stuff too, but they primarily do Medicare because it's more community. Like you got to get out and help folks with real things, like real issues, prescription drugs, costs, things like that. Folks that are on a fixed income, you know, you're helping reduce that, you know, help put money back in the Social Security check. There's so many different things attached to Medicare. So I want to say this too now. We also train folks, and we have agents that are partnered with us when it comes to that too. So we don't just write products. We probably do more of that than anything else these days, taking folks who are looking to be entrepreneurs and business owners, partnering with them and changing their lives financially. We're doing more of that than anything else, to be honest.
And I guess I'm gonna tell you a rundown of that. So I say, all right, I'm coming. I'm like, hey, I want to be a broker, right? What I need to do now from that point? Like, when I come to you, I'm telling you that. How I go from there.
So basically, like if you came to me and said, well, Donald, I really want to I want to get a life and health license to be a broker. That's where it all starts at. Then I would send you an online course, and I'd give you a product code, and it allows you to get the course for like $29. It's a $200 or $300 course, but you can get it for like $29. You can do it online. Now, our Georgia folks, we refer them to a course in Atlanta, in
In
I guess, an
person.
in-person course.
Kind of boot camp, like.
Yeah, because some folks don't do well with online courses.
Mm-hmm.
So that course is a 5-day course in Atlanta, and the lady that runs the class, she's great. And so if you take that class, you're definitely going to pass your state exam, because you got to in Georgia, you got to do what's called you got to take a pre-licensing course, right? You got to do that first. It's a 40-hour pre-licensing course. Then you got to go take the state exam, right? And so that those are the steps. And then when you take the state exam, then you apply for your license and do the fingerprinting in the background and all that kind of good stuff. And once you get your license, then that's when you come to us, and then we get you set up with our admin assistant. And so she'll send you over contracts, things of that nature. And then once you get out of contract, then I'll be training you. Either me or my wife or both of us will be doing. We do hands-on training with all of our folks.
Contracts, like what that consists of? Like you just sign in like a contract to work, or
Yeah, so no, like contracts, like we're partnered with like big carriers like Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, Aetna, people that you know. We're contracted with them as an agency, and so if you come on with us, then we get you contracted up under us with
Gotcha.
that same carrier, right? And so that's kind of how that works. But it's super profitable, and you get to be out in the community actually really helping folks.
so like what do you do? Like you go to a function and you set up a table and you try to get people to sign up for Medicare.
No, what we do is like we have purchase spots in 7 Walmarts. So if you ever go into a Walmart and you see somebody talking about Medicare, that's probably a store that we purchased, like Deansbridge Road Walmart. We have a broker partner in there, Bobby Jones, Martinez. We're also in other states. We got a spot down in Jacksonville, Florida. We're in Florence, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. So we have Walmart spots that we've bought, and our brokers go in there and they talk about Medicare. But also, like me, I'm in the streets. So you're liable to see me in, Jennings Homes. You're liable to see me, Barton Chapel. Like I be in the streets. So so I'm all over the place. And so we market in the community, right? So we market, they call them low income subsidy leads. Like anybody that is low income, we send out marketing to these folks. If they need help with their prescription drug costs, if they need help reducing their Medicare Part B premiums. I know all of this sounds a little foreign to you, but when you get on Medicare comes in 2 parts, Part A and Part B. Part A, you get that just because you worked at least 40 quarters, so you get that for working. So it's important to work, because at some point you're going to need, certain, I guess, benefits from the government, right?
And
You said
40
work, you mean
quarters
W-2
equals 10
work.
years. Taxable work, yes.
Gotcha.
Taxable work. And even if you got a 1099, and that's another thing, we didn't get into that, but I do want to touch on that real briefly. But so with that being said, they need help sometimes reducing the costs, right? Because Big Mama probably worked for 40 years, but she didn't have a 401k or an IRA. All she gets is a Social Security. It may only be, the average Social Security check is about $1,200 a month. Could you imagine making it on that? Big Mama's doing it on that though. And so, but out of that $1,200, she has to pay for her Medicare. That costs her $164 a month. But people like us come in and we do an application to get that $164 put back on a Social Security check. And we don't get paid to do that part. That's just something that we do. But then we also write Big Mama a plan to help her. Now the plan, it doesn't cost her anything, but we get paid to write the plan.
Gotcha.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So we do other value adds in the community to make sure that folks are really getting help, because putting them in a plan, that's the easy part. Getting them the other real help, that's the hard part.
Okay. I like that. I think I only ask more questions because I do feel like there's gonna be some people that watch this and they hear the last part and they're gonna hear it like the last 30 minutes and they're gonna hear the 6 figures and they're gonna leave their job for real. So I wanted to kind of see if I could get like and you did a real good job like trying to tell me what the process is.
And let me say this too, like insurance is, people don't quite understand this, but insurance is a big part of the financial industry. So if you're in insurance, you're in the financial industry. So Medicare insurance is 100% renewals, meaning that once you put somebody in a plan, you're going to get paid for that same amount as long as they stay in that plan, right? So our broker partners, in order for them to make 6 figures, they got to write 318 plans. To put that into perspective, people that started with us last year already written about 150 plans. So by the end of this year, they're going to be at 300 plans, and they get paid every time they write a plan up front, but they also get paid passively, right? And so some of them are 6 figures passively, so they're making a certain amount of thousands of dollars every single month passively. There's 2 different types of income. You got earned and you got passive, and we need earned because we got bills to pay. So in our business, we get both, right? But then when you set up that passive income stream, it allows you, what I like to tell my brokers, like, listen, I'm here to help you buy two things, time and freedom. The real flex is flexibility. You can go out and buy all the houses and cars you want, but if you got to work 24/7 to pay for this stuff, you ain't really, what are you really doing? You know what I'm saying? But if I can get you to where you got 6 figures passively, now you can have these nice things if you want them, but you can spend your time doing other things, with your family, with your wife, with your kids, things of this nature. You can do both. Serving in your community, being on a podcast on a Sunday. You can do these kind of things when you're getting paid, you know what I'm saying? Because of business that you wrote 3-4 years, last year, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we're all about teaching folks wealth. Wealth is passive. That's not the stuff that you work for. Wealth is what you're going to get no matter what. It's going to be coming in.
I got you. So I like that. Yeah, I meant to ask about that, but that's a good thing. I think people gonna ask me more questions about it too. So if I get more questions, I definitely reach out to you. And then, I know you're gonna be doing your own thing soon. We can try to get that information out that way too.
Yeah. Listen, man, anything you need from us, you consider it done. Yeah, and that's real. Like, we really appreciate you, man. Real quick, I know I was talking about taxes real fast. I do want to drop this gem to folks, man, that are entrepreneurs, and they're doing the same thing I did when I first started in trucking, which was write off everything and show a loss. Be careful with that, because one day you're gonna want a business loan. Banks don't loan money to businesses if they ain't making no money. You got to show a profit so that you can go out and have purchasing power. We as Black folks, man, and I know this mentality because I had it. I had the same thing until I went to the bank and tried to get a business loan. They said, well, last 2-year tax return, you showing a loss for Doughboy Trucking. We can't loan you no money. You can't get a business credit card. So I had to start showing a profit so that I can get a loan. So we show profit. Of course, we definitely show a profit now, but like when you're trying to do stuff in your business name, these folks be on these Instagrams and all these reels talking about do this and do that, but they're not really telling you everything.
I be seeing that how to make money with an LLC, how to do this, and it's like, now as you say that, they don't tell you the backside. Well, you can't do this if you do that.
That's right. That's right. So this stuff is because we out here like this. To us it's kind of funny. We like, hey, look at this, man. But it get people attention. It gets you views, and they making money off the views. I get it, but they're not telling you the full story. You can have an LLC all you want to. I mean, are you making any money? Oh, I'm a business owner. Are you profitable? No. Okay. All right. When you go to the bank and the bank asks for 2-year tax statements and you showing a loss,
they're not going to invest in you.
The bank. If I own the bank, if you own the bank, sir, would you give money to somebody that wasn't making any money? No, you wouldn't.
Not at all.
You might say, well, no, I had to show a loss because I didn't want to pay taxes. Okay, that's cool. But I can't on paper. On paper, you ain't making no money. So so I can't give you no paper. Because on paper, you ain't making no paper. You feel me?
I'm going to give me back.
Exactly. And I mean, it's just so, you can even break it down even closer to just on a regular personal level. If you always broke, and then you come to me asking me for money, and I know you always broke, am I going to give you some money?
No.
Because I don't know when I'm going to get it back. So no.
That's right.
And that's what people have to look at. You have to look at how do I look on paper. It's not about what you know about me. It don't matter how many billboards we have up within CSRA. What does it say in black and white about Family Financial Consultants when it comes to money? Credibility with everybody else, that's fine. But with these banks and these loans, these credit cards and stuff like that, you got to have it in black and white. And if the math don't math, you ain't getting nothing.
That's your favorite thing.
That's my favorite thing. The math don't math.
You should have never taught her that, boy. She's running with that, boy.
Look, but it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's true. The math got a math.
Look, I think it's dope, and even conversing with y'all, like I think last time we spoke, you said something like that. You was like, "Well, we're not gonna give information, we entertain," and it's true. Like just seeing it now, I can envision it, y'all being on the same platform. It's just gonna be funny. So I like y'all mesh too. Like I like that. So, yeah, man, this was dope. I enjoyed the conversation. I feel like I learned a lot myself. The good thing about this, I also think about things. You know what I'm saying? I know people that probably going through some of the things y'all talking about but I need to sit down with y'all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, if anything, I'm gonna shoot them your way. Same. You know, with me, I will come sit down and get more information as well too. So, yeah, man, I appreciate y'all stopping through. You know, definitely do. This was dope.
We appreciate being invited. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Appreciate y'all. Morning Masters Podcast. We out. Yeah, that was good. Let's see. Where we at?